Welcome to episode 1 of Accounts of the Night Beast. This episode is entitled Delicate Time. Um, that said, a beginning is a very delicate time. The Dracian sector's primary star glows with a pale yellow light, and the stellar horizon looks on through the dark eye of Hayet, a blank part of space with a cold, dying star at its center. The found this region of space important enough to leave rich settlements that are like treasure troves to those who seek out the ancient technology. Not many think of why there was such a concentration of the forebears in this sector. The hegemony's only established anchor in this sector is the planet of Parias. You have come to Parias for some much-needed repairs and R&R. The ship that you pilot, or that you fly around in, the Akara Dinta. It's a Cerberus class ship. It's down a few dozen floors from where you currently are, out on a sky pad being repaired by Starsmith engineers. You've decided to grab a few drinks and a bite to eat at the Donny Rainbow, a watering hole popular on the Comet pylon. And for those of you not familiar with the planet of Parias, it is the primary planet of the hegemony's citizens in the Dracian sector. It has a number of self-sustaining megastructures called pylons that dot the surface of the world and hold hundreds of thousands of souls each, living on the highest floors to the deepest subterranean basements. The Camus pylon is a seedy settlement in the Malice field, grouping of pylons, a few clicks out from the largest source of civilization and the primary spaceport of the planet, the city of Husui. Playing a bit of Taj Mod with locals is Flynn. Matt, please describe him and what he's doing.
Right, so you see Flynn in front of the Taj Mahal table. He's basically like 5'10", brown hair, has a leather jacket on. Currently, he's wearing a hat of sorts and has a pair of shades on. As he leans over the table and sort of looks over his shades, you can see that he actually has two different colored eyes. The left one's purple, the right one's green. And looks like he's lining up to hit a shot, and if you pay close attention, you might see he's trying to nudge things a little bit in his favor with some underhanded means also.
Okay. At the bar, his brother, Quinn, enjoys a drink. Tim, please describe him and what he's doing.
You see a gentleman looking almost identical to the man playing pool, except that his eyes are, the right one's purple and the left one's green. He's sitting with a knit cap with welding goggles on top, resting on top, shirt, trousers, and bracers. He's there at the bar nursing a drink as he's looking through a data pad. If you were to view over his shoulder, it's looking at different lists of what's being potentially for sale at different junkyards in the area.
And out on the dance floor is Viava. Zach, please describe them and what they're doing.
Vieva is a member of a Xenos race called the Mundusians. They hail from the planet, or the moon rather, Mundus. They are a part of a species that doesn't have a gender binary, and they have primarily blue skin, 6 digits on each hand. They're taller, relatively humanoid shape. Tendrils instead of hair, and almost amphibian-like skin, with some scaling in certain parts. They also have blue eyes, and you can see what looked like deep purple veins moving through different parts of their face and skin. And standing out amongst the crowd of everyone dancing, where everyone seems to be like actually into the music and moving and grooving. They're just kind of like just a little out of sync, but trying their best to fit in.
See, I was joking with the Zemo.
I literally was referencing that when I decided to be on the dance floor, and you just called me out.
I apologize for putting you I apologize for putting you on blast. Over
That's
at
what it is.
a booth is Mo, or is it Moe? Mo?
It's low.
Okay, thank you. Kevin, please describe them and what they're doing.
I'm working on that. I'm workshopping that, guys. So, um, when you think of Mo, think of think of the monster from Looney Tunes. He's big and red, and he's basically he is a Xeon of the race called Moselic, and he's from the the planet Chill. And like I said, think of the monster from Looney Tunes. He's like big, and instead of red, he's orange. He's very long, furry like hair covering his body. He's like 8 feet tall, really big. He probably weighs around 600 pounds. And he's also his race is kind of marsupial like, so they have some of those things in common with kangaroos and stuff. And he one thing that's different between him and like the monster from Looney Tunes is he can like stretch his eyes out like 3 feet and look around his body. So that was just kind of like a evolutionary thing that he evolved. And I guess he came from kind of a primitive race. So
Well, we
so
don't need
you
to
know,
go into we don't need to go into backstory.
but anyways, that's kind of a little bit about him. That's what he looks like, anyways.
Nice.
Okay. And with Mo is Kane. Andy, please describe him and what he is doing.
Yeah. So Kane is a much smaller figure when compared to Mo. He's maybe 5'8" or 5'9". He's thinnish. He looks like he's middle-aged. He has brown hair, long brown hair to sort of his shoulders, and a beard that's kind of graying. He wears robes, loose-fitting robes. And he's leaning in to Mo, and his fingers have a coin, and the coin is flipping between his fingers really fast, as if he's trying to show Mo how to do this. And then he takes the coin and puts it in Mo's big 4-fingered hand.
And that's a decent point to just cut into, you two interacting. So yeah, go ahead.
Kane would say, "Wait, Mo, focus and tap into the way."
So Mo would take this little coin with his like huge furry finger, and he's like trying to like twirl it like you're doing, and you could just see he just gets really frustrated, and then he just goes, "Cannot do."
Success is patience, Mo.
Patience. And then he would try it again, but he looks like he's having a really hard time doing anything.
And then Kane would take it back, and he'd pull out 2 more coins.
Okay.
And you'd see all 3 coins going between his fingers.
Also, inside the bar is at the bar rather is Runt. And Dan, are you available? Yeah. Okay. He's possibly just listening in and driving, so that's all right. Okay. So, sorry. Continue. Back to you, Andy.
No, that was it. So it's sort of I would imagine the camera kind of then pans away
Okay.
as Mo is like frustratedly trying to manipulate the coins in his hand.
Okay. Well, if that's the case, I'm going to go ahead and just give kind of like a subtext to what's going on next. Once Dan does arrive at his computer, we'll go ahead and have him cut through his starting bit. But let me go ahead and explain kind of the situation. So you are at this bar, the Donny Rainbow. It's very Blade Runner-esque, neon, dank, smoke-filled. You can see there's balconies on the outside that kind of look out over the Malice Field, out at the spaceport of Sui. It's chill, relatively colder than most folks are probably comfortable with, but that's mainly to do with just static temperature for most races on Parias is 60, which can seem colder to more hot-blooded individuals. But yeah, that's stated. You know that you are here waiting for an individual whose name was given to you by a contact in the Raiders named Nathaniel Garand. And Nathaniel Garand is supposed to be meeting you here sometime in the latter portion of the evening. It's evening time. It's basically just getting into dusk. You know are seeing the sun setting out in the distance. Its pale yellow light dipping beyond the horizon and leaving kind of an orange glow to everything. That said, that's what. Go ahead.
I was going to say, sorry, if you were going to finish something up.
No.
finish something.
Always interrupt me.
Okay, I was going to say, Flynn was going to just sort of like wander over towards Quinn over at the bar and just sort of like, yo, Quinn, do you know when this guy's supposed to be here? Like, seriously, I'm not sure this is the best idea for you and I to be out in the open around here like this.
We can't do anything about it. We gotta wait for him, otherwise what are we gonna do? We need the job, we need the money. You know about Mom.
Yeah, I know about that, but still, I'm just saying, this is not the safest place for the two of us to be sitting around here.
Well, keep your head down and stop trying to pull one over on people, and maybe, we might be able to get by this just fine.
Hey, listen, you're the one that was just bringing up money for Mom, huh? I'm just trying to help out a little bit my own way. Why are you giving me a hard time about this?
Because you always gotta push the envelope.
I assume with the scene.
I end up paying for it.
I assume with the scene that you're kind of laying out, Flynn is actually kind of paranoid at this stage, right? Kind of keeping an eye out, being kind of, trying to keep his head down but keep his eyes open, right?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, so you would have noticed not more than 5 or 10 minutes ago. It, definitely is probably kind of stoked the paranoia a bit. But a member of the Legion is standing outside and seems to be having radio communications. They have not entered into the Donny Rainbow, but they're kind of out, so you can kind of see like what the pylons kind of look like on their exterior. The Donny Rainbow is kind of on like one side of one of these, and it has a bridge kind of extending to another pylon, and a number of staircases, elevators, ramps, etc. inside that descend deeper into the pylon proper. There are some floors above you, but most of the pylon is beneath you. And this individual is kind of out on one of those catwalks, or out on that catwalk, and it's kind of stopped near where the Donny Rainbow's entrance, catwalk entrance would be, and is seemingly communicating with somebody.
Right. I'm just going to sort of like lean over. All right, listen, I'm going to go. Just keep an eye on the Legion guy there. I want to make sure everyone else knows. In case something goes down, we might need to bolt without this. Just saying.
What's that gonna do for our rep? I understand, but goodness, we can't ever have anything go smoothly.
Well, listen, it ain't my fault that guy's just standing out there on the radio.
Yeah, let me send the drone over there.
I'm going to walk over to where like Mo and Kane are and just sort of like nudge them and not head over to door just to tell them like
All right, you walk right into it because right when you walk over, Mo is picking up his second bucket of spider goulash and kind of like chugging it down, and it's splashing all over, and you can see like Kane is dodging out of the way, but I think a little bit probably hit your foot or something.
Oh shit, dude! Don't you ever know? Use a napkin.
Just use the tablecloth, Kane says.
Gosh, these are new boots too.
Delicious.
Yeah, keep it to yourself next time. Listen, just a heads up, guys. Legion, on the phone outside.
And Kane, as you kind of take a gander over in that direction, you would notice that kind of having an understanding a bit about the Legion's 73rd Legion in the Dracian sector. This individual seems to have a marker denoting him as a scion of the Judiciary.
John, one of my riggings is a small drone. Could I send that over to as a listening device?
You could. It might be noticed.
Okay.
But I mean, yeah, you could do that. That's fine. I'd be okay with
I
that.
am trying to be discreet, so noticeable isn't on the menu.
Okay.
I'll just keep while I'm gonna more so not really paying attention to what I'm flipping through on the data pad now. I'll just be more like out of the corner of my eye, keeping an eye on and seeing if he starts making a move. Trying to act natural, occasionally nurse a drink, but I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing anymore, but on him.
Yeah, real quick correction too. It's just a car, not judiciary. I'm sorry. My Warhammer 40k kind of bled into the game.
So is that a legal person of some sort?
Correct. The Justicar is a title given to a specific mystic who acts as a magistrate for the hegemony. I'm going to do it all night, guys. And this one appears to be a member of the 73rd Legion, which is the Legion of the Hegemony that operates in the Dration sector. And he has a marking noting him as a scion of the Justicar, which means that he is basically like their forward scouts or operational kind of surveillance. And yeah.
Do I notice the others, especially Quinn?
Well, Clint comes over and tells you about the situation.
Okay.
And Moe, I keep doing it. Stop Waifu Wednesdays. Mo is spider goulashing away. It doesn't look like Viava is. I did it wrong, didn't I? Viava, right?
Viava.
Viava, got it. I will not miss it again. And then Quinn is looking like his brother, except that he's at the bar.
Got it.
And yeah, Dan's character is doing something, but it's currently not described. It's at the bar, though.
He's drinking. We'll go with that.
Well, I guess I can just kind of use what he said he was going to do in our preface. I'll just kind of state that that's the case. Runt is currently hitting on a woman at the bar. The woman in question is, just a human woman, and it doesn't look like it's going very well.
John, have we been to this bar before, or is this kind of like very infrequently? We don't really know the people.
Your call.
All right, I'm gonna say that since me and Flynn try to avoid Planet Side as much as possible, we try to don't frequent one place.
Yeah.
Keep things shifting. So I just get bartender.
To side slip you real quick, Flynn is familiar with Parias and its more seedy locales, so this might be somewhere he's familiar with, and you may not be.
Yeah.
But you say, hey, bartender.
Yeah.
The barkeep comes over. He looks like Forrest Whitaker. The best way I can describe it.
Nice.
How can your friendly bartender help you? He says as he comes over.
Does Jessica's come by here often?
What's that?
I kind of point towards the door and they come here often?
It's a Justicar.
Right, but they don't really frequent your establishment.
Legion's around here all the time. Riffraff all the way from Procyon come through here, trying to make their way as far out as they can. Legion's got to grab them up. Legion's got to grab them up.
You got a place I can jack in my my data pad that's running low on battery.
Yeah, sure. He gestures towards turn.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. I don't know why I'm drinking. I'm the barkeep.
You gotta test
Barkeep's
the product.
privilege.
Make sure you're serving us the finest quality.
That's
Or
it.
the lowest quality, whatever you want to do.
Oh shit, I'm wasted. Oh shit, no. Okay.
Well, maybe you'll be more generous with the drinks. I ain't gonna mind.
Rounds on me.
Hey, you guys hear that? Bar's paying for everyone.
Back to context.
So from there, is there any way I can hack into the system to try and basically I want to try and get eyes and ears at some point that is is stealthier on the.
So once again, this is you trying to set up a start point for the engagement. Basically, if you are operating outside of the bounds of we're waiting here for Nathaniel Garand, we're going to basically be starting an engagement. So if that's what you want to do, we can. I understand, like, if you want to engage this individual, you can. That will start the engagement. But I'm just saying, like, if you want to operate on that individual, if you're worried about that for some reason, then we can do that. If not, then no.
Our record's clean. We ain't got. I mean, we got some seedy characters after us, but nothing that they'd be worried about. So I'll just sit back, watch the show fireworks.
Okay. Just making sure you understand your choices here. Now, flipping back to the other players, I mean, is Kane doing anything hasty? Is Flynn moving away from them, or is he sitting with them?
So Flynn at this point, he's not actually sitting. He's just sort of like leaning against the bar next to Kane.
Okay.
And he's just sort of like.
Well, they're not. Around, they're not at the bar. Sorry, they're at a booth.
Oh. Gotcha. My bad. Then instead, I'm not going to sit down. I'm just going to sort of like lean against the booth and just be sort of like, so wait a second, where did Fava go? I ain't seen the guy.
Kane would definitely be sort of paying attention to the whole scene, and so he would just point at the dance floor.
And
Vieva sees you point at her, them, and points back at you. I'm like maintaining a line of sight to everyone, but like having my time and I point back. It's just like.
It must have dancing a little bit different on their planet.
Do you try and like signal them over, or?
Oh yeah, after
no,
I point back. Oh, sorry.
Not you, them. Do they try to signal them over?
I'm just going to just sort of like, after he points, just going to do the like, hey, and then just sort of like, okay, just keep an eye on him. And then I'm actually going to just walk back over towards the Taj Mod tables.
Okay. And Quinn, you're not hacking into the system or anything, right?
All right, we're going to avoid the engagement for now. Hopefully, anything got here. And I would sidle over to Grunt too and just let him know, yo, just stay frosty. It's just cars outside. Something might go down soon.
Doesn't seem to hear you. Is very focused on trying to talk this lady into going to his ship.
And I.
You do overhear him say your ship.
Don't get between Grunt and him wanting to be with a woman.
Right. So just to ensure, we're not going to dabble too much with Dan. No Dan dabbling, because he's not currently here.
We miss you, Dan.
Moving back to a question I fielded to Kane, though. Kane Slayer, Andy. Again, this might be more important to you, or something that you want to focus on. Do you want to start?
Because as a Justicar, you mean?
I mean, I don't know.
So, out of character, I'm not a ton clear about what's going on with the bar and whatever kind of situation that's happening. But like in character, you know, he's kind of sees himself like Mo as a sort of muscle, and he's waiting to be activated. You know, if something goes down, he's going to act. Otherwise, he's just gonna kind of stay put and kind of be more focused on the scene than Mo is, who's just guzzling down spider goop.
Okay, so just a couple notes, and again, I'm going to field some things that might be behind the scenes. I just want to make sure you're catching what I'm putting down. There is a scion of the Justicar. The Justicar is your rival from your sect. He was granted the high title of Justicar in the hegemony because he did the things in your backstory.
This is the guy we're talking about?
This isn't the guy. This is the scion of that guy.
Okay. Right, gotcha. So and he's potentially looking for me, maybe? Or if he finds me, that's a problem.
I don't know. But so the main thing is the scene is very, think tech-noir-y, kind of. You've got people sitting at tables, eating on bar food. You've got people at the bar. Some of them are, jacking into the data terms and getting, connections. Some people are, ordering drinks. Some people are flirting or being shot down horribly. Ha ha ha, Dan, ha ha ha. Some people are on the dance floor. Vieva is one of those people. Some people are actually good at it, though. Ava is not one of those people, based on your description.
Y'all don't know what good is.
Fair enough. Maybe on Mundus that's dope.
Got it.
Maybe
Okay,
it's
so no, I get it.
Right, but
So if he has a hood, he's going to take his hood and put it up over his head just to kind of seem a little bit more hidden. And if he senses that this person is going to be in the bar, he has something else planned he wants to do.
he hasn't entered the bar. He's still staying outside, occasionally making radio communications. But then you see him stop somebody out on the bridge. The person in question has kind of a rough and tumble kind of look. Looks like kind of a spacefarer type. Someone who, has probably been off-world. He definitely has a very similar look to most of the raiders you've run, with or run, into. And the Scion stops him out on the bridge, and the two seem to be having a conversation. Based on the way the conversation seems to be looking, you can't really tell what the Scion's feelings or emotions are, because he is in full Legion regalia, like armor. But the guy who he's speaking to is definitely on the back foot. Looks very nervous. Looks very concerned. And that conversation.
Is he looking back towards the bar, like pointing back towards us, kind of a thing?
No, he's kind of looking around, like I would say like a cornered animal. Like he's looking for some method of escape.
Okay. Well, I'm certainly not going to give it to him.
Do any of us know necessarily what our current employer / mark that we're looking for looks like?
No, blind date. Nathaniel Garand was the person who's supposed to come and meet you and would know who you are.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Progressing is so real quick, this is kind of like backstory stuff. How much of for instance, most important thing, Andy, do we know about your stuff at all? Okay, you're somewhat recent. We don't know your story. You don't necessarily know our story. We're loosely tied. We work together well. Okay, cool. Just because I don't know, I move over and pick up a stick to shoot some Taj Mod with Flynn.
The gentleman who's currently playing Flynn kind of looks at you, like confused, then looks over.
Don't worry, I'll wait. But watch him. He's full of tricks.
Yeah, I've been noticing that. It's still your shot. I know you haven't been good. You've been lollygagging, stalling. You're lucky this isn't a tournament.
My gosh, give me a minute. I need to figure out what I want to do, alright?
Alright, well.
Yeesh. I'm still sort of... I'm just sort of like eyeing the door. And I'm assuming the Legion and the guy are just sort of like still out there, right?
Yeah, if you're watching it for a little while, about a minute or so after, it started to happen, you see that the individual, his hands go up and then kind of come up behind his head. The Legion official pulls out a pair of pulse shackles and tells the individual to turn around. Once he's turned around, he takes one arm, drapes it behind back, locks one of the pulse shackles onto the wrist.
I'm just going to...
Would I know why this happens? This is happening? Would I have a sense of why this is happening?
So, someone's being detained for criminal reasons.
Yeah, with seeing that, I'm like, should we go check it out?
I was just sort of like, I'm going to go outside for a smoke and like start pulling. I have like a box of cigars in my jacket.
I'll join you. Don't worry.
Okay.
It can take that long sometimes. The guy who's playing Taj Mahal.
He shakes his head. Fuck it, I'm gonna find another partner.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, fuck you.
And you see him scoop like the money, which is negligible. It's not a big deal. It would have just been for flavor, but you would have probably had some small kind of wager.
So, if Kane saw either Flynn or Quinn heading towards the door, he would try to motion to them to come to the booth.
Okay. That's up to you two if you want to deflect, but it looks like that second shackle is about to be thrown off.
I'm just going to like.
If anything, if he's trying to motion us, I motion him to come with us because I just got a feeling this is our guy that we need to meet with.
I was just going to do the small like, have my hand down by my side and just wave him like we'll be fine, like down my side.
Okay.
One of us is telling you we'll be fine. Those that come on with us.
No.
Of course, we argue about everything.
So Flynn, you're a pretty smart cookie. You would notice that there is a Dust Eagle, which is a 73rd Legion personnel carrier craft that seems to be inbound. It looks like it's coming from Hisui, like pretty rapidly. It'll probably be here in about a minute's time. They are not massively armor loadout, like they're not attack vehicles or anything, but they're not unarmed either. But it does look like it's on its way, probably for pickup of this prisoner. You can see that the Legion officer is looking at you through the helmeted sockets, and puts the second shackle on the guy.
Yeah, I'm just going to sort of like walk outside, just sort of like
The guy
glance over.
The guy looks over at you, like kind of like pleadingly.
You got the
Yeah, I'm
crappy
just sort of like,
cigars.
I'm going to glance over like I don't really care that much to be like, you got a light?
Do you say that's the trooper?
Yeah.
The guy who's being shackled looks at you and goes, kind of looks around, and then looks at you. Flynn? The trooper says, "No, I do not. Sorry. Move along, citizen."
I just sort of like give the barest of nods to the guy.
And you can hear the radio kind of coming through, but it definitely has a very strange kind of, sense to it. If you're familiar with the Half-Life series, it's kind of like the, I can't remember the name of the guy. It starts with a C. It's on the top of my head, though.
I know what you mean.
Those guys. Yeah, it sounds like them talking to each other on their radios. He basically now has the prisoner secured and is holding the pull shackles in between the rings.
So I look to pick a fight with Flynn. Like, first you don't got a light, and you also got those crappy cigars. What's your problem?
What do you mean, what's my problem? You think my cigars are crappy? Your taste is the worst. These are fine-ass cigars.
You see,
What?
with his
For an ass.
with his free hand, he's kind of reaching down to a pistol at his belt and slowly pulling it out of its holster and holding it kind of idly on his side. The trooper, that is.
You're honestly just like the worst bag of shit ever. Mom told me that you were an accident.
And I go to swing at him as like shouting expletives. Not necessarily that hit, but whose back is more towards the trooper right now? Is it mine or his?
Your call?
I'm going to say your back is more towards the trooper.
Okay, so I go to swing, and like hit you in the shoulder to start the fight between us.
Right,
Okay.
and I just sort of like push him back to knock him into the Legion.
Okay, so let me make sure like what your goal here is, so we can kind of engage. So first off, the job. The job is rescue Nathaniel Garant from his current situation. Obviously, there wasn't much of a planning step in this one, which is fine. But it sounds like we're going for a more kind of social, or rather infiltration. We're trying to, or deception rather, kind of methodology, right?
I was going to like.
Are we doing
Basically,
violence?
my plan at this point was push him back and then go in for a punch and hope he ducks and I punch the Legion.
So we're doing violence.
Yes, we are doing violence.
Great. Okay. So
I love the like, yes.
So this is the Nathaniel guy that's being arrested. Is that it?
I don't know. He knows.
I
Flynn's
mean, he
name.
said Flynn, so.
Wait, you don't know that. You just know that one of us said we're fine. One of us said come with. That's all
And
you
now
know.
you're seeing us fight each other
Yes,
next to the
if
Legion.
we can cut away from a second, Kane would be like trying to stop Mo from eating, and
Hey, we
just
have a
sort of
dance!
to push him away to look at what's happening outside.
Okay. So you will all basically be within kind of striking range, I guess.
Cheers, boys!
But sorry, real quick rewind. One moment.
You struck out, Dan.
So Dan, what is a runt is at the bar? Please describe him and what he is doing.
Wiping the spit off his face.
Yes.
The fucking Xenos hating fucking racist over there.
Describe your character.
You don't know what she missing.
Describe what your character looks like.
I can't do that. I've not
Please keep doing it. That's great.
I've not practiced it for shit.
Okay.
I don't know what his voice is. I don't know who this man is. I
Sounds
know
like Vincent D'Onofrio from Men
So-
in Black.
Real quick, describe.
dealing with a lot.
He is a member of the Haroon race, and so they are humanoid. They have kind of chitinous kind of armor plating. Skin tones vary across the spectrum, color spectrum. What color is Rund?
Can I have like silver and then like I don't know,
Kind of like an
earthly discolorations
Well-
like towards.
I would say it'd be less metallics and more color. So it'd probably be more of like an alabaster, like more of a white gray.
Yes,
Okay.
but then it like slowly like as you get more like exterior,
Yeah. Yeah.
like his carapace, it like turns like earthly tones, like browns and greens.
Okay.
It's just I don't know, a little different.
We like it. Okay. And yeah, so struck out. Runt is a very cognizant individual when it comes to like bad things that could happen. So if you were paying attention in the listening to the stream as you were heading home,
Yeah, I'm aware what happened.
you are aware of all the things that happen, even though no one thinks that you are. So you are now currently aware that both Flynn and Quinn are trying to engage a member of the 73rd Legion in combat mortal on a bridge over a massive like pit, which is probably filled with spikes. So
Behind there's a big table.
So, question: what is the Legion's fatality move?
it's down,
You'll
down,
find.
down, down.
Just be patient. Like I say.
Okay, so anyways, go ahead, Dan.
Behind me is a table of a party that's like they have like huge hookahs. They got tons of drinks.
Yeah, yeah.
Girls behind me. I'm literally gonna turn, wipe the spit off my face, and flip their table.
Okay. You're making a distraction.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's happening at the same time, let's go ahead and do a couple of things. First off, Quinn and Flynn. It sounds like Flynn is the actor and Quinn is the assister, correct?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're scrapping. So
Yes.
go ahead and make a scrap roll. Now, sorry, engagement. First things first. So we know the obstacle. Now, my question is, and like what the goal is, what is the end goal? Rescue Nathaniel Garand, sure, but then what? Where are we going with him? Are we taking him to the ship? Are we taking him to somewhere safe? Are we trying to get him off world? Are we trying to get him into a safe place in the area that you may know about? Like, what's the goal?
My goal was basically figuring that after we save him, we can head back to the ship. Hopefully, do some fancy flying if the Legion follows us, and even if we, hopefully find somewhere safe away from them that we can just sort of park the ship and talk for a while.
Okay. Now, this sounds like a pretty bold plan here, and there's definitely a lot of daring situations, specifically engaging a Legion member head on. So I'm going to go ahead and give you +1D for the operation here. And yeah, let's see. Yeah, I think that's probably the only piece of okay, so the engagement roll assumes the PCs are approaching the target as intelligently as they can. So when you make the roll, you have 1 dice for sheer luck, and then you have 1 dice for a major advantage, which is the bold part. Okay, so you'll have 2 dice that you'll be rolling. So go ahead and roll.
2 dice plus the scrap that we have, right?
Well, no, we're not rolling scrap yet. This is just for the
Oh.
engagement. This is just for the
Just for the engagement.
beginning portion of it. So roll 2 dice, pick a representative of your group, and they'll roll 2 dice or an engagement roll. And yeah,
Tim, do you want to roll one and I roll the other?
All right, let's hope we get 2 6s.
I got a 2.
That's not good. Let's hope I don't roll a 1. Oh, there we go. Okay.
You got a 2, you said? What'd you get?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I got a 1.
Okay.
I don't see it.
So
There you go.
here's what happens, okay?
This is great.
He's got the pistol kind of off to his side, right? You can see that as you start to
Okay.
fight, he kind of slips it back into the holster and starts kind of raising up his hand, okay? As he's doing that, you see Tim drop down and you're getting ready to launch into the punch. And instead what happens is that the trooper kind of reaches down and grabs a hold of Quinn, lifts him back up, and slams, is kind of lifting him up into your fist. He then kind of pushes Quinn forward, kind of knocking you two back, and then snaps the pistol out. Just as that's happening, Dan, you said you're throwing over the table and basically trying to make a kerfuffle. You're trying to make a kind of
I
scene.
want, taunting out the umpire, right?
Right.
Taking all of their attention,
So
trying to distract.
We're out of the engagement segment, so we're now moving into actions. And again, I know that you were trying to have that be the startup point, so that's why I kind of went with that. That said, Dan, you're going to need to choose one of the actions that you are going to utilize. And as I mentioned, you can find those on page, I think it's 18, right?
I believe that is correct. Yes.
So you need to pick one of the action types. And it's actually...
Violence? Is that...
No.
What am I thinking? Here, let me...
That's for the... Yeah, hold on. Okay, so first, we've already discussed your stated goal, okay? And that is, you're flipping over the table, trying to make a distraction. You're trying to bring
And then I
attention...
want to start to my team. So basically, a distraction, I want to, stealth, under the chaos that I just created.
Okay.
And get closer to the team.
So
that's the whole thought.
The main effort is...
Team.
Everyone focuses on that, and you kind of get away to a closer position.
My distraction. That's my...
Okay. So that sounds like...
I know I flipped the table, but...
That sounds like Skulk to me.
Skulk, yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for that list of actions, and I'm
It's on page 10
Thank you. So yeah.
in the column right.
Thank you. So whenever I say choose an action, you're just going to choose one of those listed, and there's descriptions for them later on in the book. Then you're going to roll off that. Now, so on your character sheet, and thank you for bearing along. This is definitely a lot. We're learning a new game together. Whatever your Skulk skill rating is, what is it?
And that's on the very first page, right?
Yeah, it should all be on the right side there.
Points in it. 0 points in it.
So you always have one die for luck. So go ahead and roll 1d6. You should be able to just click that, I think, and it'll roll it.
You got a 4.
Okay. So a 4 is a success, but it's a success with a problem. So hold on. I forgot to do things. Bear with me. I am new. So
It's okay, John. We know.
you stated your action rating. You chose Skulk because it seems like the right one. I then set the position. You are controlling the situation, so it's a controlled setup. You're set up for success. You're literally exploiting a dominant advantage. This is definitely something that would cause a situation. It's not risky or desperate. I would say it's a pretty controlled situation. And yeah, the effect level, I would say it's limited. It's definitely not something he's going to pay too much attention to, but it's possible. And then we already discussed your base dice.
So could he push himself for greater effect?
You could. So don't focus too much on the roll right now. Let's focus on the math, because we want to get it right. So it's starting off in a controlled, limited position. Okay. So that means you're gonna roll 1d6. 4, 5 is a success, but with a problem. A 6 is an absolute success. And based on it being a limited effect, it's not going to do much even if it is a success, and it's not going to be too harmful for you even if it is a success. If you push, you can add +1 to your dice roll, or you can add effect. And what that means is you change the effect from limited to standard. Okay? Pushing means that you're going to gain stress, and that'll raise you up 2 stress to push. And I believe I don't know exactly what the limited on stress is off the top of my head.
We have a tracker on our thing.
There's a tracker. So yeah, just keep that in notation. You can also make a devil's bargain, but this isn't a massive big thing that you're doing here. This isn't like a clutch. I'm
not investing a lot in this.
Yeah, and it's not a gambit.
This is just a somatic, or not a cinematic to
Perfect.
fucking start the scene.
John, I have a question.
Let's go.
Hold on, Kevin. What?
Well, I just have a question. I thought you had a minimum of 2 dice in every roll, and then you add in if you have any other.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
That's right. Sorry. So the engagement roll should actually have 2 more dice. So both of you roll more dice. No.
No, damn it, that was a good one.
Yes.
No, I think Flynn needed, not Flynn. I think I think he needed another dice because he only rolled 1.
Right. Well, I need 2 more dice from the Flynn and Quinn roll for the engagement. So go ahead and roll 1 dice apiece.
All right, so we got 6.
You got a 6?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, Dan, you're not pushing. You're just doing the flip. 4 is fine, right? Okay. So then let's reset. Okay. Sorry for those watching. We're new to this game. We're just getting used to it. So let's get it right. You instead, Quinn drops to the ground, and Flynn comes in with a fist. Hits the trooper on the face. The trooper reels back, hits the railing, and Nathaniel kind of moves aside and is now kind of behind Flynn and Quinn. So it'd be Flynn behind Quinn, Quinn closest to the trooper. In this scenario, the trooper has not relinquished hold on their pistol, and they are raising it up to meet you. Then there's a loud crash from inside of the bar, and you see the trooper's head kind of dart off to the side. Meanwhile, inside, Dan, your repercussion, because you only got a 4, is that the people that you just fucked up.
Well, that was actually Kevin's point. Didn't he get 2 more?
Oh yeah, roll 2 more dice, Dan.
No. Is it 2 total or 2 more?
2 total. Yeah. So 1 more.
Okay, yeah. So he rolled a 2 on that. So
Okay,
it's a 4 and a 2.
The 4 is still the thing. So basically, you kind of hit the table and kind of move over to the door, kind of getting ready to engage outwards against the trooper. The problem is you just flipped over a table filled with a bunch of people who were really invested in that hookah, the alcoholic beverages, and everything. And it looks like the bigger guy of the lot, a massive kind of human gentleman with kind of like reddish, kind of hair, massive guy kind of looks over at you and starts kind of walking in your direction. Okay. That said, Vieva, you can see all of the shit that's happening from the dance floor. And King, you've been watching it intently.
Yep.
Mo,
I like to do something.
Mo, you're kind of invested with the coin for a second, but then when he tells you to start looking, you see that stuff's happening. So go ahead, Kane.
Yeah, so, Kane would say to Mo, let's go. And then he would want to scramble and to quickly get to the scene of the fight.
Okay, so just moving outside is not a scramble for me.
Okay.
Like if scrambling would be like moving through harsh kind of material or stuff. So going outside is not going to be a big deal.
Then he would want to. So if I use kinetics, is that an attune?
Yeah, it would be an attune roll.
Is there a piece of something big he can pick up as he's on his way, like a chair or a table?
Massive table that just got.
Yeah. So that, and he's gonna throw it at the Justicar.
Okay. You grab a chair, rush outside, have the chair in hand, and are gonna basically catapult the thing at him.
Yep.
Okay. Go ahead, and make an attune roll.
So.
Sorry. Attune
how do I
is,
do that?
Let's rewind. We're doing this wrong. I keep on going into Dungeons and Dragons mentality and Cyberpunk and all the other role-playing games. This is different. I need to make sure I'm getting it right. So that's it. Your stated goal. What are you wanting to do? Just launch the thing at him, or knock him over the railing, or like what's the goal?
Okay, right. So what I want to do is pick up this table, get to the area. chair. Okay, fine. Is it heavy enough to knock him off of the bridge?
Pretty sturdy, metal
If I
bottom.
throw it hard enough, and I throw it really hard, I'd want to do that without hitting any of the other people that are in the engagement. Yeah, and I want to knock them off.
Okay, and then your action that you're choosing for this would be a tune. You're using the way to shunt it and shoot it at him.
Correct.
Okay, now I'm setting the position. This is a risky shot, in my mind, and I would say because the fact that there is a railing there and he's pretty heavy himself, it would be a limited effect level. It's more likely going to hit him and kind of like crumple him rather than knock him over.
That would be okay too.
Well, that's fair. I'm just saying that's kind of where my mentality is at.
Yep.
Now we go to bonus dice. Now your action roll is just going to be base what the roll is. You can not get assistance on this, I would say, because I don't think anyone else has really kinetics.
Yep.
You could push yourself for 2 stress to either set the effect to standard or to add a dice. You can also spend a gambit at this point if you want to, and your party has 2. But if you spend 1, you're spending 1 from the group, not just of your own.
Yep.
Or you can make a devil's bargain. So that said,
So I could do more than one of those, yeah?
yeah, but you cannot push yourself and accept a devil's bargain for dice. Only one of those 2 can be for dice. But
Right,
you can
so-
push yourself for effect and devil's bargain for the dice.
Push yourself for effect. And gambit?
Yeah, you can do-
Devil's. You could do both of those things too.
Yep.
Cool.
Yes. So push myself, and that's stress?
Yeah, it'll give you 2 stress.
Okay, yeah, so do that plus the gambit.
And are you doing it for dice or are you doing it for effect? Pushing.
I'm doing it for dice.
Okay. Effect means that the
Oh,
payoff.
I see.
Yeah, I
No,
do it
actually,
for
let's
effect.
do it for effect, yeah.
Okay, so that means that we've got 1 extra dice if they're okay with you spending the gambit.
Do they get that choice? How does that work?
I guess anybody could just take it, but I mean, it's the whole group's resource, so I just want to make sure that.
Yeah.
And don't we only have 1 because we're Cerberus?
I said you're going to have 2.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we get one for rolling the 6 before?
Yeah, that's why I'm saying you're going to have 2.
Yeah.
I think it's
Okay.
worth it. If you're okay with this.
Yeah, I mean, if we got one for the 6, sure, why not?
Okay. If that's the case, then you have, however, you have +1 dice to this roll. And you'll have standard effect. So we're now in risky standard.
All right, and just to say, I'm keeping track of the gambits and the stuff for the ship.
Do I click on a tune and it rolls?
Yes.
Yeah, it click on it and it should ask you a couple of questions.
And so is it controlled or is it risky?
It is risky.
And then the effect is standard.
Correct.
And then 1 bonus die.
Correct for the gambit.
5.
Okay, 5 is a success. All right. So you take the chair up and kind of let it hang aloft for a second. You can feel the way kind of invert in between you and it, and the color between you and it shift for a second. And as you push forward, it kind of moves with a velocity that's like it's falling, but it's moving in a horizontal kind of pattern. It slams into the trooper with ferocity, and you see him kind of fly back over the rail, the chair kind of cascading up into the air and descending down with him. But you see that as he's falling, in his left hand, he seems to have a device, which you, having some law enforcement kind of training, know that that is the connector to the pulse shackles. And Nathaniel goes flying towards the railing as he's pulled by the pulse shackles gravity connection to the trooper.
Can I dive and try to grab onto his feet?
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and discuss the action. We're going to work through this together because I'm getting it. I'm starting to pick it up. I just want to make sure it becomes more fluid for everyone else.
Yeah.
So that said, what is the intent of your action?
I am trying to keep this
Wait.
guy from falling
Hey,
over.
sorry to interrupt you, Matt. How does it work when does everybody get a turn or like?
Oh yeah, sorry. No, you would have been coming out there as well.
Zach and I haven't done anything yet.
All right,
so-
I'll back off.
Mo, you would have been coming out there as well. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, I didn't know how it worked, so that's why I was
Are
asking.
you wanting to die for the guy?
You're the logical person to do it.
Yeah, I'll die for the guy.
Okay, so that said,
Yeah,
what is your goal for the action? Just to get a hold of him? Are you wanting to get a hold of him and wrench the shackles off of him? Are you wanting to get a hold of him and make sure he doesn't fly out over the railing? What are you trying to do?
I'd like to like grab him and then grab like the shackles like in one hand and kind of like hold it up and hold him.
Okay. So that said, what action do you think that would be?
I wonder if that would be scrap or if that would be scramble. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
you're trying to grapple him and kind of hold him and rent the shackles off him, right?
Right.
That sounds like fighting to me. So scrap is
Yeah.
fine.
Okay. Scrap to me. Yeah.
Okay. Now I would say that the situation is desperate because it's you kind of rushing out the door, seeing the situation appearing, and diving for it. And I would say that the effect would probably be it would be limited because it's a lot that you're doing kind of in one blow. That said, that'll be the onset.
So as a question, John,
Go ahead.
since my instinct was to do the same thing,
Assisting.
could I? Yeah, assist him. That's what I'm saying for a +1.
Well done. If inspiration were a thing, I'd give it to you. It's not. So that said, starting from the onset, you'll have +1 dice because you have Flynn jumping for the same engagement. Now, do you wish to push yourself for effect? Push yourself for dice? Do you wish to Devil's Bargain, Gambit, etc.?
Well, let's talk about that real quick. Like, if I pushed myself for effect, how is that different than pushing yourself for dice?
So if you push yourself for effect, the current effect level is desperate. Or sorry, limited. Sorry, apologies. I got the two terms mixed up. What limited means is that if you succeed, it won't be exactly what you asked for. It will be slightly bad. It's a limited effect. If you have a standard, it's pretty much dead on what you asked for if you get it. If it's a great effect, then it's that plus. So sometimes pushing yourself for effect when it's a standard is a good idea to kind of make it even better. So that's
I'll take 2. I guess I'll take 2 for effect. That way it'll go from limited to standard, right?
Yes, that's right.
Take 2 stress. Yeah, I'll take 2 stress.
Okay, and then you have assistance, so you have +1 dice. Your group has 1 more gambit remaining if you want to spend it, and you can always accept a Devil's Bargain. And the Devil's Bargain just means that you and me will decide on something listed here that kind of falls into play either now or at a later point.
No, I don't want to do anything more than get the stress.
All right.
Mo loses all his hair.
Suffers harm, yeah. That said, you're going to go ahead and roll that. And again, like I said, it's going to be a...
So then it's standard. It's desperate standard, right?
Desperate standard, correct.
Oh, hey. And how many bonus die? You said 1?
You have +1 for assistance.
All right, sweet. I'll roll it then. Sorry about that.
Crap.
No worries, we're all getting used to
Roll
it.
like shit, guys.
Okay, so you got a 1, a 3, and a 3. So it's the worst outcome. Okay.
Hooray!
You grab a hold of the guy, and Flynn, because you're helping, you can elect. I'm going to give you an option here. You grab a hold of the guy, and you reach up and grab a hold of the pull shackles, and you and him go flying towards the rail, and you hit, and you go ass over tea kettle. You still got him in your arms, and you still are holding the pull shackles, but you feel like you're now kind of falling like a sarcophagus head down, like connected to this guy, straight down. Flynn, you can't either be connected to that hot mess, or you could be at the railings, like kind of almost knocked over it.
I'm going to elect to be at the railings, almost knocked over.
Okay.
Gasp.
All right. Now, Vieva, you are coming out onto the scene, and Runt is kind of right at the door. I'm assuming, Runt, that you're pulling a weapon, like some kind of, blaster or something.
Creature?
Yep. So you're basically like, we're intent on shooting, and then watch that whole mess unfold in front of your eyes. So back to Vieva for a second. Do you want to do anything regarding this?
So this is not my area of expertise, but there's a whole environment around us, and you said there's even a ship coming down. Can I try and study the rest of the response and see if I can get a better understanding of like our time frame or any of that sort of stuff?
Dusk Eagle is kind of like a personnel carrier, Legion kind of personnel carrier, drop ship kind of, or like a evac. If you're familiar with Aliens, it's like a, drops down to the planet, picks up people, etc. It is incoming, but that's only really known by Flynn because of his kind of personality. But I suppose you would probably have an idea of that too. So,
well, I'm sure I'm running out and just realizing it myself now.
Yep.
That's what I do. Is I like scan the whole scene.
I'd say it's about a minute out. The bridge heads over to another pylon, not one you're terribly familiar with. And from this perspective, straight down, I'd say maybe 400 feet, you could see that kind of off at, if you were at 7 o'clock on a clock, your ship is at about 11 o'clock, 400 feet down out on a pylon. It's kind of extending out from, or not a pylon, sorry, a sky pad extending out from the pylon. And the two that are falling are about 100 or so feet at this point. And if all you're doing is just kind of studying the environment, I'll go ahead and engage with the next part of the job here. The Scion, seems to activate a device which causes his feet to kind of flare with boosters and his backpack to kind of create a stabilizing field. And as he does so, you see him kind of whip the device up in his hands and kind of hold it. And as you're kind of falling down with this guy, Mo, you stop at a distance of about 100 or 50 feet from him, kind of locked in space, and being held by the pulse shackles at that distance. So the best way to think of it is the shackles themselves are what are currently holding the two of you in the air, and he is commanding where it is based on his little device. That make sense?
Wait, who's being held in the air?
You are holding the guy who's being held in the air.
So am I in the air too then?
Yeah. You can see there's a lot of strain on his arms and body because you are basically causing a drag, or like a pull, on his arms in the shackles. Imagine being in cuffs and then having someone hang on you.
Yeah, he's screwed. I weigh 600 pounds.
Could he slide down the shackles to the Justicar?
He is screaming out, hey, it's 50 feet down. But again, you're in midair. There's nothing to connect you to.
Hey, John, how far down are they?
From you, I'd say about 25 feet.
And how far ends just at 60 feet below that?
I'm sorry, what was that, Tim?
The Justicar, he's below, like he kept them in the air above him.
50 feet above him, and then 25 feet above them is the railing where you guys are. And then 400 feet from the railing straight down, if you're at 7 o'clock, it's at 11 o'clock, would be the sky pad where your ship is. And you can see it from up here. You can see the Dinta just kind of sitting there on his sky pad.
Okay, so I've got a grappling hook.
Okay. Well, we're kind of recycling, so I want everyone to understand that you can engage. If you have an idea and you want to pop in, great. But what Matt did was perfect etiquette for this. If someone's like, I got an idea and I want to jump into it, even if it is Kevin trying to jump in just bear hug a guy, it was great. It was perfect. It was what he was trying to do too. So I'm not being too harsh. But that said, if you want to jump in and kind of like slip in, and someone steps back for a second, that's good etiquette. Props to Matt. But yeah, back to you guys. What's the plan? Grappling hook. I heard something about grappling.
Do we want to try throwing a grappling hook to Mo?
Do we have time to debate this?
I throw a grappling hook to Mo.
Okay. All right. So since there isn't really much in the way of like harm or anything, it's kind of just a quick shot out. The grappling hook, I'm assuming, is more like Batman than like D&D.
I'd imagine.
It's more of a Widowmaker style kind of launch straight down at Mo and lock onto him. You feel the clamps of the grappling hook kind of suction onto your. You don't have a shoulder.
Yeah, I do.
Onto
I
his
have a heart,
onto his
so I have a
leg.
shoulder.
Kind of like your arms just kind of stick out of your body if you look like Gossamer, but
It's luscious hair.
Okay.
I have luscious fur.
it's in the fur and it definitely has a bunch of meat. So yeah, you have Mo locked. They are not going to fall. Okay. Anybody else?
So the guy that has the controller, I want to take control. I want to make my guys escape.
He's 75 feet down, flying.
Far. Yeah, never mind.
He's definitely within shooting range.
Shooting him. I'm gonna shoot him.
Shoot us! I don't want to fall and die.
Okay. All right, so that's going to be a situation where we discuss what your goal is. Now, you can definitely shoot to kill. Great, that's common. You can shoot for the controller, blow it out, so that when the grappling hook like reels back in, it takes Mo.
I want to just hit. I want to basically damage the
control
wireless connection
Okay.
to the device.
The
That's what I
trooper,
want.
the trooper is definitely a bigger target, but the controller is definitely a target that can be taken. Okay, so we want to destroy the controller or at least damage it so it no longer functions or
Yes.
works proper. Okay.
Or his hands, where you can't fucking use it.
Sure. We'll kind of combo that into the same deal. We want to stop
Yeah.
the pulse shackle control. I would say that this is going to be a risky, not desperate, risky situation, but because of its very specific and very nuanced kind of targeting, it is a limited effect. So now we decide on your side. Do you want to get what you're shooting? Does anybody else want to help shoot?
So I could try to do something separate.
That's
That might
separate.
be
That's
helpful.
separate. That's separate.
Uh-huh.
If everyone's just shooting at the hand, that's fine. Then we can add to that.
Oh. I don't have things to shoot right now from what I can gather.
Okay. Okay. So that being the case, no assistance for you, Dan. You can push for either an extra dice or effect. If you push for effect, then we'll go from limited to standard, but you'll gain 2 stress. Or you can push for an extra dice, meaning that you might get better.
I want to
chance.
go from limited to standard.
Okay. And do you want to spend the last gambit? Do you want to sign a devil's bargain?
Let's do a devil's bargain.
All
Yes!
right. there
I
we
was
go.
waiting
Okay.
for someone to do that.
Now, that said, we definitely have a perfect example of how collateral damage, unintended harm, could be provided here. Because you have a target that you're shooting at that is literally on the opposite side of your ally and your contact. But Mo is massive, so the collateral damage, the unintended harm, will be hitting Mo. All right.
Fine.
He'll
That's
be
fine.
He'll be fine.
That said,
That's okay.
you get an extra dice for the devil's bargain. Did you want to spend a gambit on this or no? It's the last one. You have to ask your group if it's still.
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. And then it goes to it. So you'll be making a scrap roll with +1 dice, and it is a risky standard.
Bonus die, correct?
No, 1 bonus die. Yeah.
Hmm.
What do you get?
More rolls.
That's a
It's okay.
3, 6, 3. That's not a 2. That's a 6.
Is it a 2?
It's
It's
a
a
2.
two.
Okay. Things go badly. So, you shoot. As you do so, your first shot, you're kind of trying to aim low, and there's kind of like a weird jerk in motion from Mo and the pulse shackle wearer. As the guy is in pain, is kind of spasming, and Mo's trying to move to make it less painful for him, trying to hold on to the shackles more. But this causes you to jump down and fire, which actually ricochets off of the railing kind of bar and hits you in your leg as the second shot goes barreling down at Mo. So the two of you will suffer lesser harms. Let's see.
That's the noise I make when you shoot me. Don't you like another muscle in the group? Come on, man.
Oh, he's yelling. I'm sorry I shot you. Oh, man.
He just wants a larger cut. That's all.
All right. 1 damage. Regular harm is 2 damage. So you're taking 1 damage. And
Damage.
Is that the trauma box?
yes.
Or is it the harm tracker thing?
This would be the harm tracker.
Okay.
If you suffer lesser harm, record it in the bottom row under your harm tracker. And so it would be 1 point of harm for the 2 of you. Now these are kind of like sufficient.
I got shot too, correct?
Yeah.
I shot myself.
You kind of burned your. I would say it would probably be more apt to kind of say you pulled in a Astartes and you kind of put the barrel down over the railing, and then you saw them jerk and you kind of tilted the weapon upwards, and when you pulled the weapon, like the discharge kind of burned your hand a bit. So you've got like a laser burn kind of on your hand.
I thought I
And
got
then-
shot in the leg.
No, that's what I said originally, but I thought about it and it sounded kind of dumb. So I changed it. I'm sorry. And then you accidentally skimmed like a pretty solid like burn on Mo. So like there's like a nice kind of chunk of like frazzled hair, because you know how hair kind of gets when it burns, and like there's like a nice kind of scar, kind of burn mark on his shoulder from where the.
Yeah. I would like to point out that after you shoot me and I growl, you also hear the noise. Like, actually, Kane hears it the most. It's like, Kane!
I know.
Like,
Sorry, man.
Hopefully he's feeling bad about
Can
this.
I do a thing? Can I do a thing?
Yeah, jump in.
So I see that. I'm sorry, I'm getting the name. I see Runt make his shot and miss. I want to try to attune.
I hit
You hit.
2 targets.
Oh, sorry. There's
He
not
did more
you did.
damage.
You're sorry. Okay.
He was successful.
That's yeah. Super effective. I want to attune with the shackle device
Okay.
and try to deactivate it. But before I do that, I just want to make sure I'm understanding the situation. Mo is still holding the guy,
Well-
and he has the grappling hook on his leg or something.
Grappling hook's kind of on his shoulder area.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, great. So if he's still holding on to the guy, this would work perfectly. So I want to try to attune with the way and deactivate the mechanism on the the shackles.
Okay. Now this is pretty standard. It's not too far away, 25 feet. So this is not a terribly hard thing for you to do. It's a controlled situation, and I would say standard effect.
Okay.
Wait a minute, before you roll, I'm thinking we should use a gambit because we're talking about Mo's life here, guys.
I got you with a grappling hook. You're fine.
And then should also maybe
All right.
push for higher effect, because then he could have extreme effect if he succeeds.
How does that work if I've already taken 2 stress?
Well, so here's what we're looking at. You have a. Let's see. I mean, again.
I think there's 7 on the character sheet. There's 7 stress spots.
Yeah. I would say that baseline, you should be fine. Because it's a controlled situation, a 4 or 5 will be fine. It'll have a reduced effect if you succeed with 4 or 5. But it might put you in a risky position, is really all it can do. And you might suffer lesser harm. There might be a strain therein. So if you want to stress for it, you can. But it's your call.
And then what was your suggestion, Tim? Sorry.
If you took the gambit for +1 dice, you potentially just push yourself for, I guess, either a die or greater effect.
Okay.
It's just like all the different numbers you can do to try.
Well,
and-
keep in mind we only have 1 more gambit left, so
So if anything,
Devil's bargain.
And that gambit, that never replenishes?
It
It
replenishes if
replenishes
you
at
roll
the
a 6.
beginning of a mission.
Okay.
And if you roll a 6.
Right, or if
And
you
if
roll
you
a 6.
roll a 6, okay. So I'll push myself again for...
You're already on standard effect, so if you push, it'll be for great effect. Which means if you roll a 4 or 5, then your reduced effect will be standard.
Well, he could push for one more dice too, right?
Yeah,
It's one more dice or the effect.
correct.
But we've been rolling for shit.
More dice equals more chances to roll
it's gonna
bad.
turn around, man. Like it's going to. Just might take a couple hundred more rolls.
More dice equals more chances to roll
Like a
bad.
true
I mean, to be
gambler, right?
fair, we have gotten 1 6 so far.
It was you, wasn't
Yeah.
It was me.
it?
All right, we'll go for the extra die.
Alright. Okay, so then roll. Again, it's controlled and standard.
And so that I would have 1 bonus die?
If you're
Or
taking
2.
the gambit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are
No,
we
no,
taking
I would push myself.
+1 for this push.
Got it. Damn it.
I mean, you got a 4.
Okay.
Got a 4.
So limited success. So what ends up happening is the shackles are, you kind of focus on the way. Mo, you can see the very telltale sign of the way kind of being manipulated as the kind of light around the shackles kind of inverts. The pulse shackles are kind of glowing blue. It changes to, I can't think what the inversion of blue is off the top of my head, but that
Orange.
that's the one. Kind of shift into kind of like a more negative space, and then you see them kind of stop glowing, and the shackles clack open, kind of in the center. You then feel gravity take hold, and you're holding on to Nathaniel.
Nate?
Uh-huh. And Flynn, you have the grappling hook, correct?
Yeah, this is going to suddenly put a lot of weight on my shoulders.
Yeah.
Can we jump in and grab him as part of as a thing?
Well, now because of the nature of the result, the crew suffers a lesser harm. That lesser harm is falling to Matt's character Flynn, as the
I'm killing
immediate
everybody this game.
the immediate weight of Mo, Nathaniel, and the like caused Flynn to become the grappling hook, traditional sense, for those parties, as he is basically just slotted into place in the railing, and his arms like. Ugh!
So I got a question really quickly. Is there like another platform underneath us that I can try to swing them towards?
No.
Shit.
The closest platform that you can see is that one that's 400 feet with your ship on it.
I'm going to try to aim him for the one that's 400 feet. I'm kidding.
If you want, if you currently are holding the weight of it. Quinn, you haven't acted. Vieva, you haven't acted. Runt, you were the one who shot, and
Grab him.
Mo, you didn't do anything yet either, right?
Mo has not done anything
No.
yet.
Do you want to do anything? Seeing
No,
this,
I guess what I want to try to do is like scramble up once I get a chance to. But I guess right now we're trying to hold on, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what else to do.
well, you could scramble to try and make sure Nathaniel is safe on you and not dropped.
Yeah, I'll do that then.
Okay.
I'll scramble.
You're a buff guy. I'm going to give you controlled because you're literally hanging in air. There's nothing really hanging on to it. And I'm going to say that because Nathaniel is not super heavy, this is not a problem for you. I'm going to say go ahead and roll that bad boy with great effect. Standard effect.
All right, cool. I'm rolling.
Can I just ask a question? If it's not a problem, then doesn't it mean there's no need for a roll?
Good point. But there is a possible negative. Like, even though he's really strong, there's a possible negative of him dropping the guy.
Okay.
Okay.
Got a 3 and a 4 this time.
Okay. So, you basically are moving him into a position where you're kind of cradling him, and you're kind of getting a hand ready to kind of start kind of pulling up and also holding onto the grappling hook. And as I mentioned, this being a situation where you're harming someone in the process, you continue to kind of put strain on Flynn. So take one more lesser harm, one more point, as you're basically being pulled down into it. But the main thing is you are definitely in a risky position. Now that you have him kind of bottled up and safe, you are a pretty open target for any flying parties that might be present. Um, Quinn and Vieva and Flynn. No, Flynn, you shot the grappling hook.
Runt.
Sorry, yeah, Runt shot
Runt.
as well. I'm just making sure everyone kind of gets a cycle. So Quinn and Vieva, you two haven't really done anything. If you want to do anything.
So I would do a quick look around. Is there any kind of like construction going on with cranes or whatnot that I could try to commandeer to assist with like lessening the weight? Or
No, not so much, but I'd say about 75 feet or so, probably one turn's worth of moving. There is a hover car. These hover cars are basically like, if you're familiar with like bird scooters, you know, the scooters that are on the road you pay money for and you can drive them.
okay,
It's like that, only it's a hover car.
all right, yeah. I'll make sure my brother doesn't fall off, and I'll start running for the hover scooter.
Okay. Vieva, do you want to help Flynn out? Do you want to?
Yeah, can I just assist to give him an extra die, right? But
Well, yeah, I would say in this situation, instead of it just being kind of like cadencely spoken like that, like you're really trying to help with the situation. Is there anything kind of like that you want to do? Is it just pulling on Flynn and kind of creating like that split on him, the weight of Mo and the Nathaniel, and then you pulling on one direction, or do you want to do something like smarter with the grappling hook and the situation there?
hold on.
Because Flynn's too busy holding it to be able to secure it to anything or tie it off or anything.
Right, I have repair tools on me. I just want to see what that means.
Well, that's fine. Again, don't think too much of it in the system kind of mentality. Think of it like, what do you want to do?
No, this is just like equipment. I know I took
Okay.
repair tools. I want to see if there's something in the repair tools that I can use
I'd say so.
to like kind of like secure the grappling hook to, so like instead of
Yeah.
him holding it, if I can like, I don't know, if it's like a metal wire, then if I can like fuse that to the pole that he's kind of wrapped around,
Yeah, I would say
like takes like what if there's like a
that's perfect.
like
And
a torch, you know what I mean?
since the strain is already being put on Flynn, you're literally just popping in and kind of manipulating the wire and then fusing the wire to kind of create a weld so it locks into place.
Yeah.
That's fine. That happens. So Flynn, immediately after the weld's kind of set into place, you kind of feel the weight as you kind of let go of the weight. You can feel the weight kind of settling on the railing. It looks like it's holding pretty well. Cool.
After I've done that, I want to turn to Runt and inspect his injury.
Okay. Yeah, it just looks like a burn on his hand.
It's not enough to need to doctor. He can function perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Got it.
I see you. We gotta go. We gotta go.
The Dust Eagle is getting closer in sight. It's definitely not like fully visible yet, but it's a decent ways out there. But it's still a lot closer than it was a moment ago. The Legionnaire at the base there, you see him kind of look at the hand shackle controller and put it into his belt, pulls the pistol out, and starts kind of shooting up in your direction. He's now kind of setting down kind of fire at Mo and Runt, kind of shooting off in those directions. So that said, the situation is he is trying to harm you. Your actions should reflect a defense to that if you want to not be shot. So that said, we'll start with those two first. Mo, you're kind of hanging off in the air. You can feel that the weight for the grappling hook is now kind of latched to the railing. What would you like to do?
Just start climbing up, probably.
Now that you have Nathaniel secured with your last roll and you are connected to the grappling hook, there is no chance for failure. So you all watch as he kind of has the arm tuck here, has one hand here, lifts up, places foot in the crux of the grappling hook, lifts up, pulls the string up further, and is basically climbing one-sided with the rope here as he goes up and uses his own body's connection to the string as basically a tether to create like a loop that's kind of tethering behind him. He's folding the knot. That said, Runt, you see that happening, the shooting kind of happening in that direction. Mo, I'm sorry, even though you are moving pretty quick, there's really no way you're not going to not get shot, at least a little bit. I would say go ahead and suffer 2 points of harm. But Nathaniel doesn't look like he's getting wounded at all. And then Dan, there's shooting coming up at you. You can kind of duck behind the railing. You can shoot back. What would you like to do?
So who else in the party is around me?
Everybody, except for Quinn.
Well, we need to like get grouped up and get to the ship, right? We got to get this guy out of here. Like we need to leave.
If you're kind of looking for the group, you see that Quinn is heading over to a hover car.
Okay. I'm gonna grab whoever is not currently heading to the hover car.
Okay.
And take them to the hover car with me.
So you kind of duck down, and I'd say scoop up.
Who's your buddy?
Well, Vieva and Flynn are currently engaged with the grappling hook.
Okay. Well, I'm not gonna fool with them, I guess.
I don't know if picking up Kane is wise.
Yeah, I mean, I can get there faster myself.
Well, I'm just saying, like, let's go.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have to literally carry you. I'm just saying.
And he's rushing over to the hover car.
As much as I like everybody,
You kind
if
of,
you have working legs.
and you kind of dip inside and kind of start moving that way. I would say with the shooting that kind of comes at you, this kind of sparks and dashing, no harm suffered. You're fine. You're able to kind of get back and get into cover. Mo's just kind of dangling off of a bridge, so I couldn't say he got out of that on stage. Okay. The grapple gun, I assume, kind of has like a disconnect for the cord, so that's fine. What's Flynn doing and Vieva doing?
So I'm Flynn's trying to remember, did Quinn drop his cigar? Because he doesn't want to leave any of his cigars behind because they're a little pricey, even if Quinn does think they're trash because he has no taste.
And I see Flynn looking on the ground, and I say, "Go with them. Get the ship started." And I am waiting.
Did you hear him?
For...
Did you hear him slip into that accent?
Yeah.
Zach did it. Zach.
Yeah. So I yell, "Go, get the ship started!" And I'm trying to get in a position where I can like lift Nathaniel over the edge when Mo gets close enough to like the top, so he can like free his hands a little bit.
Okay. So no real action there. Assistance is basically being engaged there. But I will say that because of the way you've set that up at the end of this kind of beat, Vieva, you're kind of pulling Nathaniel up onto the bridge, and Mo is just kind of jumping out onto the bridge, kind of getting up there.
As I pull them over, I still have my repair tools out. Am I able to break the shackles at all?
The shackles are already broken.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. I didn't know if he actually like broke the shackles or if he dismantled the rocket booster.
Yes. Well, it's not so much a rocket booster as a magnet, but yeah. Flynn, you're the only one I think I haven't covered.
I'm basically just going to like
head
towards the hover car.
Okay. You pop into the hover car. You've probably used these on Parias before. I mean, you've been here. You probably took the same one up here in the first place. You hop in. It's swipes to your account and you activate it. Are you driving anywhere yet, or are you holding and waiting until everybody's on board?
If I see they're running towards me, I'll start driving towards them to. It's like
you can hop over
fast
the rail.
as possible. Right.
Okay. Perfect. So I would say at that point, then you can board the hover car, no problem, and that's where we'll kind of discuss the action. Literally at that point, the shooting from down below the bridge kind of. Did I do Quinn or Kane?
No, he just scrambled back to the hover ship.
Okay. So the shooting kind of stops as targets become less rich, and then you hear kind of like a thrust down. You see the Legionnaire kind of pop over the railing like Boba Fett style and kind of slam down onto the bridge. As he does so, he looks at Vieva, Mo, and Nathaniel and says, "Halt, Raider!" And it's just being cool. He doesn't have his pistol. He does have his pistol out, and he's kind of pointing at you, and you're now kind of like in a straight shot. But yeah, I would say moving along, the next person kind of jumping into the vehicle would be.
I said I would.
Yeah, Flynn, sounds right. And then Vieva.
Well, also, as a quick question, could I hop in and try to get Quinn to move over so I can drive this thing?
Tell me how that goes.
I'm basically just going to get in and say, like, Quinn, what are you doing? I'm better at this. Move.
There's shots coming at us. They're
How
arguing.
is this thing laid out?
I would
could a
smack
transfer of
whoever's-
pilot really happen, or would we have to slow down to do this?
I would say that it is kind of set up like a boat. There's like 2 seats for the front, and it looks like you can easily switch control to either one of those seats. And then there's kind of like an open space in the back with like couches around its circumference. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, of course. Grunt, can you take them out? I don't want them knowing our faces.
I'll take a shot.
Okay.
Hits Vieva in the face.
Well, Vieva and Mo, you still have kind of Nathaniel in like a baby cradling. Do you two wish to retreat from him or like stand off with him? Like, is there anything you want to do there?
I imagine we're scrambling to the ship.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we should get the hell out of there.
Okay.
Like, there's no reason to sit around and fight people.
No rolls necessary. You're ducking for that. Now, it does sound like Runt's going to try and take a shot at the guy, right?
Yeah, if he thinks it'd be wise.
Okay. Go ahead and make a scrap roll. Well, sorry, I'm doing the D&D thing again. You're going to want to shoot him in the face and kill him, right?
Yeah.
That's the stated goal. Point blank, he's no cover, out in the open. The only thing that's really helping him out here is he's wearing armor.
So I have a special ability, Predator.
He's not weak.
He's vulnerable
He's
because you
not-
said he's out in the open.
I said he's out in the open.
Okay.
He's an easy target, not vulnerable.
Okay.
Um,
What about like gathering information on like a weakness or
No.
vulnerability he may have with his armor?
no. There really
Okay.
isn't one for the Legion.
Okay.
This isn't Stormtrooper armor.
Okay.
So that said, your stated goal is headshot, kill him. All right, you choose the action rating, which you're going with scrap, and I will choose the position. Because it's out in the open, it is a controlled position. You're set up for success. Easy shot.
Okay.
Standard
So
effect.
controlled? Standard.
Could is there any way that Flynn, since he's flying now, maneuver the ship in a way to give a more like a
That wouldn't really
Help
help
by-
you.
okay.
Yeah, the only thing that would assist him in this kind of situation, I mean, because well, I guess holding it steady. Sure, yeah, I'll allow it. So Flynn's assisting with the piloting, is that right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Dan, do you want to push yourself?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay. And do you want to devil's bargain it up?
You know I want to.
I mean, then do it. I mean, why don't you do it?
So okay,
Okay.
with the assist,
Yeah.
you're at how many dice?
So if it's scramble or scrap, it's 2.
All right. So
Two.
you devil's bargain. I have a thing in mind. I'm not going to tell you immediately what it is. I will tell you after the fact. And do you want to spend the last gambit?
Do you guys want me to spin the gambit?
You really want this guy dead.
I mean, I don't know. Do you guys? I mean, I'm okay now. I've already done my devil's bargain.
I say take the bargain and let's save
Yeah.
the gambit if we
I'm
need to get away
fine.
from
I'm
the
fine with it. I
ship
don't-
that's approaching.
All right. So then it looks like we have +1 dice for assistance, +1 dice for the gambit. Did you say you're pushing yourself?
And I'm pushing myself. Yeah.
For effect. So, because you can't push. Oh wait, yeah, because you can't push yourself because of the bargain. So, you can't push yourself for the +1 dice for the because of the bargain. So you're pushing yourself for effect. So we're now on controlled great effect. So go ahead and roll with the +2 dice.
Come on, sec. Come on, sec.
Watch it all be 3.
Yes!
Hey!
All right. So, you scoop him, like clean shot, boom, right. You watch it kind of go right into the iris. You watch the helmet kind of like spin to the side a little bit, and you can kind of see just like a dash of blood kind of jet out of the bottom of the helmet as he kind of falls to the ground in a crumple. You immediately hear a loud siren blare as the Dusk Eagle saw that happen in clear sight.
Hmm.
And now we start a clock.
Now we're doing, yeah. Now it's,
Get on, guys.
Okay, so let me see if this whole plan. I have a plan here. Hold on. So we're going with a clock.
He asked for it, man. He's standing out there.
Cue the big chase scene.
Maybe was not the call, guys.
He asked for it.
All right. So this is a countdown clock. Okay. Very simple thing here that's happening. You basically have 6 things that you can do in an effort to try and elude the Dusk Eagle. So with that being said, as a group, kind of discuss what your plan of action past this point is. Flying straight down on the same side that this Dusk Eagle is approaching is literally just going to point out that you're going to your ship, and that's where they should probably follow you. Maybe even shoot your ship off the ground before you get to it, so there's no escape. So it's obviously not a smart idea. But everyone's aboard the hover car. So what do you want to do?
So thinking about it, evasive flying is obviously one we're gonna have to try and lose them. Part of that is if Flynn can take us through any places he knows of, where we might be able to, I don't know what kind of ordnance we have, possibly shoot things down the range. Like,
hold on. So you're talking about Flynn and what he should be doing. Let's have Flynn talk about what his character is going to do, and then you kind of think about what your character is going to do. And not every single person needs to make an effort here. There's 6.
Yeah.
I got an idea.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I've got an idea. Why doesn't he like take off and then right when he gets a little bit above the ground, he just goes into warp speed, like jumps from ground? That would be crazy. I don't even know if it's possible.
I'll figure out what's possible for piloting.
Yeah, do it, man. It's cool.
These things, their engines don't do that.
So, as a quick question, John,
I like the thought.
I do want to get like a lay of the land around us. Like I know that we've got, obviously some of these.
The picture basically, it's a lot of pylons and stuff out in the field. You're basically at the bridge point of one of the higher kind of points in the pylons, and then kind of 400 feet down there is a sky pad that kind of extends outside of the pylon that you're on/in, where your ship is located. It definitely looks like the Malice fields go for quite some distance, and Hisui, the grand spaceport, is off in the distance to the north. To the south is just more of the Malice field. To the east, to the west is just more of the Malice field. It's lots and lots of pylons.
So I know I used to do some of the tower races back in the day.
This is the territory you would have been doing it in.
Right, and I'm just thinking, so I know basically the lay of the land. I'm just trying to think, is there, and this, the ship, it's coming from above, basically, right?
Yeah, basically you're kind of looking at the horizon here. Imagine it's like one of those ships that's kind of dotting the circumference, but you can see that it's flying in your direction.
Okay, so basically what I want to do in terms of flying is instead of like going for the ship or anything like that, I just want to go straight down, like a rock.
All right, so that's fine. Once you're, and again, that's not going to require too much of a roll. What you do realize is that the second you kind of start your descent and are kind of falling out, you see that the Dusk Eagle kind of dips and then starts kind of causing its kind of gradient to descend with you, heading in that direction. I would say that the fancy flying probably gets down into where you get to like the more networked areas.
Yeah, and that's basically, I'm trying to get down to the network as fast as possible is basically what I'm trying to do.
Okay, perfect. And I would assume that the goal in that is to try and lose him in the web of it all. And, okay. So, that said, your action, I assume, would be pilot? Okay.
You mean, helm on here, but yeah.
Helm, yeah, sorry. My brain.
Fine.
Okay. With that being the case, I would say it would be risky. And I would say it's pretty standard.
Okay, so, I'm just wondering, I do have this, hold on a second. So, I do have this, fun thing where it's, exceeding specs, where When on board a ship, you may damage a ship's system you have access to in order to gain either a +1d or +1 effect to a roll.
I'll allow it.
Okay. So I'm going to be pushing this thing a little bit harder than usual just to try to get us out a little bit better. And then I was also thinking I might take a bit of a devil's gambit with this one too. I want to use the exceed specs to gain a bonus to effect, and then I want to use the devil's gambit for the +1 dice.
Okay. Hold on a second here. Apologies. I grabbed the wrong... I don't want 6. The clock is going to be a 4 o'clock. Bear with me here.
That's fine.
Matt, how are you on? Just thinking about if you wanted like the best chances possible. What about
Taking stress.
taking stress and then you could have +2
All right.
dice and great effect? Yeah, just throwing it out there.
I could take
Alright.
that too. For
How much
+2
stress
dice.
have you already taken from the assists?
I actually have taken, I think, like 1 stress, so +2 stress would put
Okay.
me at 3.
Not too bad. We're definitely going hot. This is definitely a
Yeah.
you know...
So that would be from... You said it was standard, right?
Yeah.
So this would be risky.
Great.
From standard, I'd put it up to great.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have 2 bonus dice, 1 from pushing myself and 1 from the Devil's Gambit, right?
Yeah.
All right. So this should be 2 6s, a 5, and a 4.
Okay. So, real quick note. Sorry, you spent a gambit this one, right? Which would have been the +1 that you would have gained from Runts scooping the guy's brains out. So,
Yep.
the gambit that you just spent is refreshed by the fact that you rolled a 6 here. So,
I didn't spend a gambit. I
okay.
did the Devil's.
then you're back up to 2. And you did a devil's bargain, you said?
I did the Devil's Bargain.
Ooh, let me see.
Yeah, sorry, I said the wrong thing. I meant to
No
say
worries.
Devil's Bargain.
We're all getting used to it. Hopefully, we'll get better at it. I would say you're running it hot. You're going in. You're going for it. So this is basically a situation where you know it's going to be problematic for the craft, and you've done this before. In fact, you've done this before, and the same scenario, the same exact scenario, is what you know I'm talking about. And you drop it. You watch as the Dusk Eagle kind of comes in. You start maneuvering the ship through, and you can hear the grav wells like from the ship kind of as it's kind of pumping off of the rails. Everyone inside of the vehicle, the self-contained gravity is kind of keeping you inside the bed of the hover car, but you can definitely feel this massive amount of inertia kind of fluttering your stomach as this craft is kind of just dipping through. There's a massive explosion towards the kind of front side, but the front other side, you watch as Quinn kind of like, is barraged with scrap, heat, and sparks, as the main engine system for it is kind of in the front of the craft. It seems it's kind of detonated on the non-active driver's terminal, and also it's like it's blown out a panel underneath. Take 1 harm, Quinn, as the engine of this vehicle seems to start to kind of go off. It does look like at this stage, I'm going to put a success on your count or your clock here. You have lost him in that he cannot chase you. His vehicle, his craft is too big to kind of go to the region that you kind of descended into. However, you have not lost him because you are now kind of smoking and smoldering, and this is easy to kind of point out in the dark dusk of the environment. So the clock still ticks.
All right. Can I hop in to try and something I can do? I can try and fix an engine.
Do you have tools?
So that's another thing is like, I didn't. How do we do the loadout?
Well, it's up to you. Are you carrying your stuff with you all the time, or did you leave it back on the ship? It does sound like Vieva has their.
I
repair
have
tools.
repair tools. I always keep like my med kit and my repair tools and a communicator on me at all times. Like
Do you have
even
a
when we
fanny
go out
pack?
to the club. I think of it more like a satchel, like a unisex satchel.
Fanny packs are pretty cool too.
Fanny packs are dope.
It's European.
It's a little too big. I feel like a repair kit wouldn't fit in a fanny pack.
Okay.
Um,
Point
But yeah, I
is,
do have a satchel with repair kit, and I do also have rigging, so I can assist you with any
Tim-
repairs if you need to.
Tim, it's up to you. Do you want to say your character would have his tools on him all the time, or are you reaching over and grabbing Vievas and using them?
I don't see myself as someone who's, at least right now, I'm not necessarily I shoot things. We got 2 guys for that. I'm here to assist with hacking or kind of mechanical stuff. So I have my.
You're actually here to show up at a bar and meet a person. This wasn't supposed to go south.
Right. We weren't planning on a mission, so like, would you have carried your tools into a bar?
It's up to you. If you are, you are. If you aren't, you can. You saw Vieva using
know that
repair
I
tools.
always have them on me.
Somebody that carries a fanny pack.
Yeah. Okay, we'll just say I don't have them on me now because
They're on the ship.
because it was just supposed to be a meetup. It wasn't supposed to be the job.
Right, and they're also ship tools. Like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So you start grabbing. You just reach over and grab a hold of Vieva's kind of repair kit.
Yeah.
And kind of get to work. And it looks like Vieva's kind of helping out, handing you the tools as you command for them. Give me the spanner! And looking over at Flynn the whole time, just angrily as he starts mashing away at it. Okay.
Again, I gotta deal with a broken engine because of what.
Hey, Quinn, just shut up and pay attention, and also try not to hurt my pretty face on you, okay?
The grab. Okay, so we've stated the goal for the action. The goal is to repair the engine to as close to factory as possible in the situation.
Yes.
Get it to stop smoking being the main key. Action rating, you're choosing.
I'm probably gonna use rig.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
That does. And the position for this, I would say it's risky. It's not a controlled situation, obviously. And I would say that standard effect.
And so standard effect would just mean I fix it back to factory settings?
Yeah, to at least
All right.
normal. And then bonus dice +1 for assist. Do you want to push yourself? Do you want a devil's bargain?
I'm definitely pushing myself. And then for dice, I want to say, position you said is risky, submit, effect standard.
Yep.
And so I have 2 bonus dice. Yeah, I guess unless people say use a gambit.
Well,
You
we got
can't.
more
There's,
gambit.
there's 2 on there.
Are you trying to fix a ship?
Yeah.
I can
Use a
do
gambit.
rig. Oh, can I help by rigging things?
Well, we already have our helper.
Yeah, we already have a helper.
It's Diego.
So
Use a gambit.
use the gambit.
I'd
Now,
use it, yeah.
here's the thing. Should I go for great effect by using my push this just for great effect, or should I?
You just need more dice, because the effect is we don't want to be tracked anymore, right? How can you repair it
To push 3
impromptu?
gambit. All right, using a gambit. 5 qualified success.
Okay. All right, so qualified success. So you're kind of hesitant when Vieva kind of hands you the spanner. You kind of look at it, and it's just not yours. You kind of reach into the system. You look at the engine. It's just not yours. Like, there's a lot going wrong here, and it's not good. But I would say that the minor complication that kind of occurs here would probably just be, actually I'm going to say, instead of a complication, it's just going to be, it's hot, it's burning, you're getting in there to try and get that, to stop doing that. I'm just going to go with harm. So yeah, just 1 more point of harm for you kind of burning yourself.
Okay, and then what do I type in the box? Just say burned hand?
Yeah.
Burned hands. Okay, cool.
Okay, that's good. So it's 1 more success on the clock. Now, the other thing, too, is you are kind of hidden away, but you haven't really made an effort to kind of, hide away yet. So, that being said, we've got piloting done, or helming, rather. We've got rigging done. Mo, Kane, I'd say Vieva, you've assisted already, so you've kind of taken part. Runt, is there anything in mind that you're kind of wanting to do? Like, you can say to Flint, go there, that looks like a good place to hide.
I was actually thinking I would kind of help with helming and directing and trying to navigate.
Well,
I'm in the back seat, though.
backseat
right?
John.
driving kind of deal, no.
Yeah.
Real quick question about an ability I have.
Yeah.
With me trying to work on rigging the thing, would that be considered working towards a clock? So we're trying to get the thing moving again.
It is, yeah.
Are you
So-
dangling like outside of the vehicle, or
No,
how,
it's
how
inside.
is he?
The engine's kind
Okay.
of in the front block.
I mean, if you're dangling outside of it, I can help you.
Well,
So
you've
I have
got-
I'm just
I-
saying, my tool set. is
So
Okay,
like,
my starting ability is Tinker. When you work on a clock with rig or hack, fill +1 segment.
Oh, nice. Okay, so that being the case, it's not yours. You definitely own it, and it definitely takes a part of you with it. You have definitely scalded a bit of skin to this engine. It is you've done it to your own, but this is
The flesh
definitely
and blood wanted making this thing work.
it's definitely your engine. Now the benefit of this is you're basically no longer smoking. There's no trail of you. To finalize the clock here, like you're just trying to remain hidden. So the only action, or again, leaving it to Mo, leaving it to Kane, leaving it to
Could I sort of pay real attention to where this ship is to try to keep us out of its line of sight?
Yeah, that's fine. Like so, you're trying to keep an eye on it so you can kind of help direct Flynn on where it is and keep it concealed. Okay, that's great. Is anyone going to help Kane with that action? Someone with maybe 3-foot extendable eyes?
Yeah, really.
That sounds
Yeah, come on, Favor.
perfectly fair. Okay, so what we know the result. We know what you want him to do with the action. What action type do you want to use?
You're talking to.
I don't have
Andy.
study. A study, I guess, is the action, right?
If that's what you want to do, yeah.
Well, I don't have any pips in study, but I can't think of any other. Is there a way that I could attune with the way to
Well,
see it?
you could be trying to lock onto it with like a manipulation of the way. You could also be kind of trying to manipulate your position with the way.
What does that mean? 'Cause I was wondering if we could like mask ourselves.
Yeah, kind of masking yourself, stealthing
Okay,
yourself.
I wasn't sure I had that power, but that would be great.
Or more, kind of putting it more mentally. You're trying to. These aren't the droids you're looking for, kind of thing to the ship.
Right.
You could skulk. That's also an option. I would say those are fair.
Yeah, let's try to mask using attune.
Okay. And Mo would be a perfect helper for that since he is your Padawan learner.
Right.
Quote unquote.
Oh, he's mad at me now, though.
Okay, so perfect. +1 dice for your roll. Keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and say it is a risky bit because, again, you're trying to do something manipulatory at a distance. And also using the way can draw attention too. So, I mean, that's fine. That's why it's risky. And then I would say standard effect.
Okay. So then I get what, 1 bonus die?
+1 for assistance.
Okay. A 6.
All right.
Hey.
After a fashion, you can see that the Dusk Eagle is kind of moving around more frantically, and you're keeping an eye on it as you're kind of masking the area with Mo's assistance. And eventually you see it kind of start moving into other pylons, leaving a very massive opening for Flynn to just fly to your ship right away.
I assume he sees that. If not, I would point in that direction.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's go.
Perfect. You make it to the craft. You can see that there are a couple of Urbots that are still kind of working on it. And these are Urbots, so they are not just standard robots or drones or anything. They are sentient automatons, and they are working on it. One of them walks over to you, the repairer that you left the ship with, and says, "It's all ready and fixed. We weren't expecting you until the morning, but you can take it whenever you like."
Yeah, that's fine.
Very good. And they head away. Getting on board the ship and getting out of here, or...
Yeah, I mean, I think so, unless,
I'm getting on the ship, and I'm gonna stay on the ship. Why did you have me shoot that guy? Like, I mean, it was great. But why did my people aren't liked that well, right? What are you?
You're the best shot among us, and he seen our face, knew that we were messing up with his arrest, and I figured this might help reduce heat. Little did I realize it came down from my head. Right. Horrible timing, but
Oh
hey.
God, man, I'm gonna listen to you. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, dude, I
Who's
think
the
he was
one
going to
that's
kill
actually
us.
making these situations? I apologize.
I just quickly.
I'm just a mechanic. It was a bad idea. I'll
But did you
fix
see the
ship.
way I threw that chair?
Nathaniel.
Yeah, it's only the way you threw us over there.
Nathaniel, not being carried anymore, kind of walking, is like in agony, and he's like, ah. You can see that his arms are basically just hanging from his body like noodles.
Abra, is there anything you can do about this guy?
Of course. Come with me. And I'd like lead him to the med bay.
And you all board the ship. The back dock of the Akara Dinta closes up.
Yeah, I'm also going to, when we get on, I'm going to shout up to the front. I have my Urbot Crunch just sitting in the ship, getting ready to power things up when we get on.
It's a Cerberus class starcraft. The wings are currently up. The docking bay closes. Inside the back portion of the ship is the shuttlecraft known as the Hunter's Mark. Name in progress, currently a placeholder. It's better than what it was before. That said, the ship prep, as you stated, Flynn, goes into process. Kind of a very quick segment where it doesn't really show like the in-between. There are kind of a couple of quick flashes between like the doctor working on the guy's arms. They are broken, and when I say they are broken, I mean all of them. All of the bones in that man's body, when it comes to the arm segments, are shattered. That said, he is not dead, nor has he entered a state of shock, which means he's a pretty hardy individual. Probably not the first time he's had trauma like this, but definitely not good for him at all. Everyone kind of moving towards their positions on the ship as it starts to take off, and then kind of like a cut scene to the ship exiting the atmosphere and moving into low orbit. Obviously, it's going to take some time for him to kind of be repaired, and probably communicated with regarding what the actual job was, not the job that you just completed, which was kind of an ad hoc job thrown in your laps. But yeah, I do want to express that this is definitely going to be a shorter session. I am winding down at current. It was more of a learning experience, and great one at that. I want to do one last thing before we close out this stream. So it's a more cinematic game, and I did kind of fall into my normal D&D trappings, but I do want to make sure that we get to the cinematic part. So at that moment, the scene cuts to a gentleman in Legion gear. His Legion gear is silver, chromed, very ornate. He has a very strange logo on him. For those watching at home, it's very interesting kind of looking bird shape placed on or around like the chest plating. His helmet is off, sat near him on a table, much more ornate in fashion than the Legion trooper that met his demise. He's looking at a number of con screens, and he's watching a replay. It seems to be a replay from a vantage point that is presumed, one that you would have thought would have been coming from the Dusk Eagle that was advancing on the pylon. And he watches as the final act is committed. You then see him kind of swipe on the screen, kind of move, zoom open the screen a bit, focus in on one specific individual. You see the look on the man's face kind of become more dour. So that's where you went. End of episode. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and
My character's always chased.
close it out. Thanks for watching, and we will pick up next week. All right. Bye.